Hello and welcome back to the Resident Evil Deep Dive, the series where I'm experiencing as much Resident Evil content as I can every single day of October. Today, we're looking at Resident Evil 6. Let's get started. I wasn't the biggest fan of 5, but I very much was not ready for 6. If I didn't think that 5 felt like a Resident Evil title, then this game might as well be in a completely different franchise. Like, yeah, all of the characters from the series are here, and it's about zombies, but that's where the similarities end. This is a standard action third-person shooter with a Resident Evil skin stapled onto it. I played Leon's campaign for the sake of this review, so keep that in mind as I go over my thoughts. One of my many gripes I had with this game was the constant QTEs. Something like this does not belong in what is supposed to be a survival horror game. This wasn't the only moment-to-moment aspect that annoyed me though. In almost all of the other Resident Evil games, you can pretty safely just run around most of the zombies if you don't want to waste the ammo or don't have any. You may have to remember that they are in the room for the next pass-through, but if you don't want to deal with them, you don't have to. Unfortunately, this game is different. All of the zombies chase you, and continue to chase you no matter what distance you get away from them. I guess this is compensated by how much ammo they drop for you, but it was still annoying because it slowed so much of the gameplay down, having to stop and make sure you take care of every last one so that when you inevitably get into the next major encounter, you don't have more than needed. I just much prefer the risk-reward system of leaving a zombie alive in the previous games. In my Resident Evil 5 video, I mentioned how I was pleased that the partner mechanic was relatively harmless, even being able to kill enemies by themselves and help in most cases. All of that is still true here. I have two issues with the partner mechanic here. The first and biggest one is that in this game there are multiple doors that require both of you to open and also other movable objects you need to push. Now that in and of itself is fine, but unfortunately because the companion could be played by a real person, the game has checks in place that make sure that both characters are present before initiating the cutscene. I don't hate that in concept, except instead of speeding up the NPC when it's being AI controlled or even just teleporting, you have to sit there in real time while the AI's pathfinder figures out where you are and how to get to you. It's also programmed to prioritize combat, so if you're sitting at the door waiting to keep going, you have to sit there and wait for the AI to be satisfied with the amount of zombie death before coming to help you. Which ties into my previous gripe of the zombies following you, making this issue even worse. My other smaller gripe, which is a lot more of a personal opinion than game mechanic, is that fundamentally, having a partner present in this franchise completely ruins any chance of it being scary. As in my opinion, a lot of the tension and scares that the previous games get come from the isolation and the idea of exploring a place where there could be something around every corner without having anyone else to rely on around. I understand that in the 7th gen it was imperative that they shoved multiplayer into every single game that came out, but I personally believe it ruins the base ideas of Resident Evil, especially to use it in a true numbered title. Beyond that, I am happy to admit that although this game shares the same control scheme with 5 for the most part, it's so much more refined and way more intuitive to use. I think this is, at least in part, due to my absolute favorite feature of the game, Leon's kick. This thing rules. I love being able to just kick my way through a crowd of zombies. It feels so satisfying and it feels like it has such a good weight to it. I think Resident Evil 6 was a good action shooter. Like, the game and its mechanics are super sound, but looking at it as a mainline numbered entry in the Resident Evil series, this game does not do a good job of filling those shoes. I would be curious in time to try more of the other campaigns, but for now I think I've had my fun just going through with my boy Leon. What did you think of Resident Evil 6? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe while you're down there. Thanks for watching and I'll see you tomorrow.